to Gab and Jam, episode 276.
And what are we talking about today?
Okay, so this one is a little bit of a deep dive. It is learn yourself to move forward as a DIY rock star. And I think we have talked about things like setting up a vision board and then making plans and all that. But this actually takes you to before that.
Okay.
Because before you can even ask what you want,
Okay.
you kind of have to know who you are and be honest about that.
Yeah.
Before you even start trying to make your vision and actually walk in your...
When you say who you are, what are you talking about? Who you are as an artist?
Well, who you are as a person.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter. I think we've been talking about that with the...
Well, let me put it this way.
Okay.
You could be a person that's got a day job.
Yeah.
Right? So you're that.
Yeah.
And then, you have this, you turn into Batman, and then that's when you turn into you as an artist.
Right.
So you as an artist may be a little bit different from you as work a day, whoever you are.
And that's true, but you cannot even build an artist, brand without understanding. I'm talking about actually... It's kind of therapy for yourself.
No, that's true. But what I'm saying is that there may be a lot of compromises that one makes to participate in a 9-to-5 world.
Right.
That might be different from who you are as a person.
That's true.
And as an artist.
Right.
And so meaning that you might have clothes that you wear to work.
Yeah.
That you might be like, oh, shoot, I would never wear that as an artist.
Right.
Because as an artist, I'm this.
Okay. And that's
so
true. I guess
that's
I'm talking about even before that. Before you even start crafting any of that.
Well, what I'm saying is that if we're talking about the DIY rock star.
Right.
So it seems like it's that image. It's meaning that what do you want to be as a rock star? So, you know what I mean? Like you might not want to be Mr. Corporate whatever.
Right. Yeah,
when you're doing your rock star thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So maybe you and your shirt and tie might not be what you're looking to be as far as your rock star image.
Well, I doubt it. Right. Like you said, probably it is going to be a Batman Robin. I mean, a Batman.
Right.
Bruce
So
Wayne
it's
type
almost like kind of knowing who your Batman is. And to me, throwing gasoline on that fire, on the Batman fire, because it's the Batman fire as the DIY rock star that you want to ignite.
That's true.
It might not be, the garbage man or the barista,
right? That you
person
are
that you
day.
Right that you
well,
want.
And I doubt it that you would be right.
Right. That you might not want to pour, even though. That's part of you.
Yeah.
Because you do make a great cappuccino. You know what I mean? So it is an aspect of who you are, or a great cinnamon twist or whatever else.
Who you are. Yeah.
Right. And you can do it, and you can do the little design and all the rest of that kind of stuff.
And all that
exactly.
Stuff,
yeah. But at the same token, if you can leave it all behind, if you hit lotto or whatever.
Right.
Tomorrow, you might not ever do that design again
and be okay with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
and I guess what I was trying to tap into, this was inspired by a YouTube video from Jordan Peterson, and it was basically just talking about, we have been talking about as a DIY rock star, being an artist, you're vulnerable. You have to put yourself out there as in be rejected.
Right.
You have to have people judging your art and all that because your goal as DIY Rockstar is to actually have an impact. So you're putting things out.
Right.
Not just being an artist, but actually circulating in the world. And so in order to keep your, I guess, not get blown about by negative feedback, by the trolls and all that kind of stuff, you really do have to kind of center
but that
your
goes
mindset.
Back to me talking about the Batman. So let me explain.
Okay,
So meaning that for your 9-to-5 person, that's the person in which you have a certain set of skills that may be profitable for you financially, but might not make you happy and make you feel like, hey, this is my purpose.
Yes,
I'm very good at cutting lawns. I'm very good at, collecting garbage, whatever it might be, right? You're very good at these things, right? And so what starts to happen sometimes is I think that aspect of who we are bleeds into the art. So meaning that because you start looking at things from through a financial lens, and almost from that logistical framework, then you might start to employ the same skills here. So meaning that instead of being true to who you are, what you start trying to figure out is, hey, they're telling me that such and such is really hot right now.
Right.
You know, so, you know, or the drill rap is really hot right now, right? You know, so, you know, I'm this rapper. I don't necessarily do drill rap. You know, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. But because they're telling me it's hot right now, I got to watch all these videos on how to do drill rap and how to make myself into a drill rapper as far as finding myself. And I'm saying that you can get lost in that. You can get lost in trying to replicate what's out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead of actually truly saying, okay, what kind of rapper am I? Or what kind of guitar player am I? Or what kind of this am I?
Yes.
And I'm going to dedicate myself to being the best that.
Right, that you can be.
Right.
For who you are. Right.
For who you are and what you do.
I like
right?
that.
You know, it's not about if you're a guitar player, you know, trying to now compete with every single, you know, great guitar player that you see on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, no, I got to figure out what I do.
Yeah, because we were talking about that,
and do that.
About music styles and what is popular. And like you said, if you're into bebop and you write bebop music, I guess the whole thing is to be true. It's to honestly be honest with yourself.
Right.
Would you be happy doing any other type of music, even if you're getting paid? People think just because people are paying you to do something that changes the way you're motivated to actually do things.
Right.
And I think a lot of times, we found. I know when we were doing, you know, house music, when we tried to do rap, but some other things, that it didn't matter what other people said. It's like I just don't enjoy showing up to do that.
To do this type. That's why I was kind of emphasizing that part of it. Is that it's deeper than just saying, hey, I want to do music.
Right.
It's deeper than just saying, hey, I just want to do this. It's like, no, you have to look at, okay, who is it quintessentially?
Yeah.
You know, musically, that it just manifests itself and makes you really
light up.
Yeah, light up when you're kind of, you know, doing it.
Create
what
this
is that
song, right?
Right.
Who is that person? So in the video, he had like 13 questions to ask yourself, because his whole idea was you really don't know yourself as well as you think you do if you haven't observed yourself and asked yourself these questions and see what your responses are. And so even though this was more a psychology video, I thought it might be helpful for people who need to actually get to who they actually are.
Right.
So there might be journaling prompts, things that you can use for that. But I'm just going to start running down the questions, and then if you want to jump in.
Okay.
All right. So, and we've already explained why it's important to do that. So, what kind of person would say the things that I say? Do the things that I say make me feel stronger or weaker? Are my words filling me with shame? Or are they helping my confidence? So a lot of times I know positive self-talk is important because, again, sometimes our personas, you know, might seem tough, but what are we telling our own selves? Like, can we do this? Like a lot of times you have to be self-motivated, but sometimes the self-motivation has to come from pride and I guess, and being resilient.
Yeah.
And whether you hear feedback or not, whether you get negative feedback, whether you get rejection, but if you want to spread the joy that is in your heart, to actually get up and tell yourself, yes, I can do this.
Right. And also seeing that other people might be doing better than you.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Right.
So am I deceiving myself and other people? So I think one of his things was observe yourself at a party and see how some of these, you know, these questions, how are you?
And I think that might be a tricky one. Mm-hmm. You know, that whole, am I deceiving myself and other people? You know, that becomes, because you could have that imposter syndrome where you feel like you're doing that, but in actuality you're not. And so that's why I think it's kind of difficult with that one, because in a way it kind of buys into your own insecurity. So meaning this is that, let's just say you are getting a lot of negative feedback. Your stuff sucks. You don't know what you're doing. You're getting this all the time. Do you quit? You know, because it's like, I must be deceiving myself.
Okay.
Because, you know, everybody's telling me I'm not that good. You know, I mean, it's like the Dr. Seuss thing. I mean, you know, you've been turned down all these periods of time, you know, over and over again. You know, you get 100 rejections. Yeah. You know, are you deceiving yourself saying you can do this when you look at everything else that's out there? It doesn't look like what you're doing. Nobody likes what you're doing.
Right.
You know, I mean, you always feel, well, maybe I'm just not called to do this. Maybe I'm called to just be this. Maybe I'm called to be unhappy. Maybe, you know what I mean? That's why I think that could be kind of tricky because, you know, you will allow other people to shape your destiny. And sometimes maybe you deceiving yourself and quote unquote deceiving yourself becomes the reality. So for instance, you know, a lot of times I talk about that with Prince and doing a movie.
Oh, yeah.
When they was talking about doing Purple Rain, 1999, people don't understand this. But I remember when I was hearing about him talking about doing a movie in 1999, it just come out, I was like, what? You know, I mean, it's like, nobody knows who he is.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
I didn't see it, you know, and I did not see 1999 coming. I mean, not 1999, Purple Rain coming. When it did come out to the theaters and it became the hit it was, and he went to where he went to, I didn't see that coming based on where he was.
Right.
But he did.
Right.
You know, and he had to go out and they had to persuade people to give money and all the rest of this kind of stuff. But he had it to say, yes, and other people were telling him, you might be deceiving yourself. Who was that? The Templeman who produced Van Halen, and when he was saying, "Hey, I want to make it to that other level," and he said, "Well, why don't you get somebody like Quincy Jones to produce you?" And Prince looked at him like he had a third head.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What the hell are you talking about?
Right.
So, was he deceiving himself? You know, we say now, no.
Right.
But 2020 is hindsight.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if the movie never got made.
Right.
That's what we would say.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that's
a tricky one. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see some of the other questions that he's having you ask yourself. Am I adopting this personality at parties that is designed to impress and to amuse, but that comes across as nothing but self-centered narcissism? So, like you said, I guess with Prince, I mean, even if you listen to all the things that are coming out now, he always had that. You know, I'm the man. And I'm sure that might have been a little bit more difficult.
It might have been a bit of fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
That may have been an aspect of it. You know, and it's not to say that you always believe this, but I think that sometimes it's, you know, when he was getting booed off the stage with the Rolling Stones, right, in 1981, who knew in 3 years he was going to conquer the world?
Yeah.
You know, who knew that?
Right.
You know, at that time, nobody.
Right.
You know, so.
And I think even according to now, again, things are coming out now, but even he didn't at the time because he decided not to play anymore and kind of shut away for a minute.
Right.
Before, you know.
Well, I mean, at that point in time, he decided, hey, I'm going to do my own tour. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to now take the time out. I'll put together, you know, 96. And they had the Triple Threat tour that took place during the 1999 period.
Yeah.
And so, you know, again, he started to build his own universe. You know, so that he could say, I have my own show.
Yeah.
I control this.
Yeah.
You know, so that was, I think, the way that he insulated himself.
But again, maybe that's in him realizing who he was and who he could not be.
Right.
He could not be that person that is on a Rolling Stones tour.
Right.
Because this is the type of person that he wanted, the type of artist he wanted to be.
Right.
So again, maybe he knew himself better than, you know, than people even gave him credit for at the time. You know, maybe it wasn't a fantasy. It was like, no, this is what I'm going to build.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not to say that within that was insecurity. Within that, so I'm just saying that the human thing is that you're never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Your whole thing is to stay fast to who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not going to be easy.
No.
That's the main thing. It's not going to be
especially
easy.
In this day and age, and we talked enough about that with the cancel culture and the shut up and sing, but if you do, okay, so this gets to this. What are my dark fantasies is one of the questions that he has you ask. What are my aggressive fantasies? Everybody always wants to believe that they're good and kind and, you know, the source of light, but there are other sides of us, and we kind of talked about that with the Phil Spector thing, that sometimes the creativity comes with a little bit of that dark side.
Yeah.
So at least understanding so that you can, I guess, create the atmosphere around you, and then probably with Prince and some of these other people, where you don't cause too much harm to yourself and to others, and where you still can create but not fall prey. And we're talking about that with Rick James. Don't fall prey to the drugs, and maybe not, you know how some people say
the
don't
dark,
have
the dark part can completely take you over.
So not understanding that these are your
demons.
Right.
And that maybe what your angels and your demons
not hang around the people who are snorting the drugs if that's your issue, right? What is it that I'm willing to do? And I know people always say I'm willing to do anything if there's money involved, but really that's not true.
Well, and then it's the other aspect of that is that, you know, when you're being true to yourself, you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to do? So meaning that, to what extent do you compromise yourself as an artist? You know, because we've had friends who got record deals. And records came out, and you were saying, "Who is this? Who is this person?" Right?
They ended up putting out because they reshaped them. Right. You know.
I mean, I hate to keep kind of going back to this, but like Tony Lamons was a friend of Lenny Kravitz's, and you know, he ended up signing with Prince. Right. And there were a lot of people who were saying that where his demos were like these, you know, great, really funky and dirty and, you know, just raw, sounding. And the record that he came out with was a very pop record. It was completely different from the person that Lenny Kravitz said he had heard. And then come to find out, Levi Caesar, who was with Prince, said that he had worked on the Tony Lamons project, and I guess the project that they had originally pulled together was, I guess, truer to the original demos. Prince heard him, was like, I don't know if I want to be competing with somebody like this on my label and make them redo it. So that's what Levi Caesar kind of felt about it, right? And so they redid something that was a lot more poppy, a lot more out of the way. So you just never know. Meaning that what might seem great to you as a great opportunity might not be that opportunity. And, you know, Lenny Kravitz ended up turning down that deal. And, you know, he waited until he was able to get something that where he went to Virgin, and when he played the demos for them, they said, I think it was Prince meets the Beatles or something like that. And it's like, when he heard that, he was like, okay, they get it. They get where I'm coming from.
I'm not going to try to change me,
so this is where I need to be.
So a couple more questions. What am I interested in so that I will spontaneously, again, you need to be self-motivated, that I will spontaneously pursue it? What do I procrastinate about and why? Because in that procrastination is that lack of motivation for whatever that is. So, and what do I think is good? What do I congratulate myself for accomplishing? What do I berate myself for falling short? And then, so he has a list, and I'll put it in the blog post that accompanies, but I think it's important, you know, to constantly, since nobody has walked up to you, the reason why you're D.I.Y. rockstar, and handed you money so you can go play and figure out that kind of stuff, you are funding your own more than likely. And so you want to try to at least figure out who you are so that you can at least start the process of building something that you enjoy and that you're proud of.
And always remember, too, that people don't hand you money for free. So meaning that they want something. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's what business deals are about. You know, I mean, so you walk into a store, you know, you see a pair of jeans, they cost X amount of dollars. If it's good for you, you go up, you give them the money, and you take the jeans, right? And there's an exchange for that, right? And that's the same thing for you. It's sort of like, what are they looking for? You know, kind of going back to the Lenny Kravitz things, do they see you the way you see you? You know, is it the same thing? Or are they thinking, oh, okay, I can turn him into this? You know, sometimes I've had that happen before where a person might ask me to play, you know, bass or guitar or something like that. But what they're looking for is like, you know, and I'm just using this as a crazy example, but the George Benson on guitar, right? And it's like, you know, I don't play George Benson. I'm not George Benson. I love George Benson. I think he's a great guitarist. But that's not me. You know, that's not who I am. So if you're not asking me for what I did, if you're not playing something that you heard me play, then I got to get skeptical about whether or not I'm going to be if we have the same vision.
That this might not be the opportunity for you.
What I can bring to you as either guitar player, bass player, whatever. And that's the same way it is for anything. It's like if you're partnering up with people that you may have to walk away from a deal that might seem like a sweet deal, if it's not them buying you for you.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise it's going to feel like work. It is. It's going to feel like any other job that you get.
And I'm just going to put this out there. I'm not going to name the group, but back when we first met and I was approached to play tambourine with a group that had a major deal, like, I'm not a tambourine player. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know, at that time, definitely not. So it wasn't an opportunity for me.
Right.
And like, well, at least they have a deal. Like, okay, but I'm not just a video vixen. It's you know, that's not.
Right. And sometimes when you offer to be in a band, you don't have the deal. You know, it's sort of like the members who were, and I hate to keep going back to Prince stuff, but anyway, the members who were a part of the time didn't have a record deal.
Right.
Record deal was with Prince.
Prince, yeah.
Right. You know, and so sometimes that happens too. That just because you're playing in a band or whatever it might be, that doesn't mean you got a record deal.
Yeah.
And that might not further you as an artist.
Yeah.
You know, Luther Vandross used to sing backgrounds for Roberta Flack.
Oh yeah.
You know, so and a whole bunch of other people that he sung background vocals for.
Yeah.
You know, and did commercials and session work and all the rest of this kind of stuff before he finally went out there and did his own solo stuff.
I can't even imagine.
Right.
I can't even imagine him not being an artist because even to this day, I think he still has such an impact.
He does. I mean, you know, but that's where he started. You know, and so, but you know, at the same token, you know, felt like you had to go make your demos, had to do that. So that was his day job.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you do get that type of opportunity, if you are a DIY rock star, you got to look at it as, okay, this is my day job.
Right.
But this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's having that clear vision as to who you are.
Yeah. I love it. All right, what do you guys think? What are some ways that you can learn yourself? If you want to know more about the more ways from that video, make sure you check out the blog post. And what else?
And of course, Sugarfit, look out for anything that we might be doing. Like
we have a new album coming out.
It's coming out soon, yeah.
So
but this one is still out there.
It is.
Yeah. So wherever that you might stream music, you can find us on SoundCloud under Prejippie, Prejippie. So yes, so you could find this stuff every place for stream.
Yes. All right. If you dig the vibe and you want to be a part of the tribe, be sure to
subscribe.
We're wishing you love, peace, and
chicken grease.
Yay.